Hi, we're going to be looking at construction. This is a section of mathematics that people shy away from. It's because it takes a little bit of skill and it takes you out your comfort zone a little bit, but it's only practice and making sure you've got these few basic rules. And I'm just going to do a little video, sort of like 2 or 3 minutes video, just showing the equipment you need. Now it's very easy to use the school's equipment, but you're better, if you're taking your GCSE, for £5–6 you can get yourself set up with a really good construction kit to be able to do this properly. First thing is a good pencil, just a normal HB pencil. If you don't go for anything like a 2B, anything softer like that, an art pencil, just a normal HB pencil. 2H is better, but you don't need to do that expense on there. The next thing you need is a good pencil sharpener, because you need to keep this point sharp at all times. If you've got blunt ones, they're going to drag and make it difficult to use the compasses, etc. Trying to get a good pencil sharpener. You don't need a novelty one, you just need a pencil sharpener that will work every time. And pencil sharpeners are made slightly different, each one's made slightly different. And so if you sharpen your pencil, if you keep to the same one, it makes it easier each time to sharpen it. If you swap pencils, it'll start to dig into the wood as you're going around on here, and it's sort of like it'll blunt it eventually. So get a pencil sharpener, don't lend it out, keep it to yourself. Pencils as well, I see so many students doing this, banging it on the table, pencil, just tapping away on the pencil. And what happens inside here, all the lead inside just starts to shatter. And you don't know until you come to sharpen your pencil, and then the bit falls off, or you're working away and the bit falls off, you keep having to sharpen it all the way down. And there's nothing worse than an exam when you're trying to do that all the time and you go into a little bit of panic mode. So, keep your pencil safe, don't bang it on the table, and keep it ready for this. A compass. Buy yourself a compass. This compass here, I've used in when I was a designer, when I was doing my A-levels, when I was at university, and it's 40-year-old. It's a 40-year-old compass, and it still works like it did before when I first got it. It cost me about £15, and it was quite an expensive one at the time. You don't need to go that expensive unless you're going into some sort of design career on here, but a good compass is important. Even something like this, still quite a good compass. It's got a good point. Again, don't rely on the school ones, get your own compass onto here, because the points get damaged, these get damaged, people pull them too far apart and they bend these top bits here, the threads go on here, so making sure that you've got your own compass and you look after it. Now if you can see here, there's a little bit of play on there, and that can make a massive difference when you're doing construction. So when you've got your compass, just do a little bit of maintenance on there, just make sure it is just tweaked up a little bit, not too tight, otherwise you won't be able to move it easily on there. And that should take out a little bit of play there, so that's quite solid now. So wherever you move that, that's going to stay. It's not going to fall into place there. So that keeps that nice and tight. Now I showed you a pencil before. I have a pencil for a compass. So what I do is I cut a pencil in half. Because if you've got your pencil here, and you're working, you're trying to get your hand past that pencil around there, and it's catching on your hand as you go around onto this bit, so it makes it really awkward onto there. If you've got yourself a little short pencil, like this one, and all I've basically done is just take it into the shed, cut it in half, and I've got some extra pencil I can sharpen up for later on if I need it. It's not wasted that, you can use it again. And then we put it into our pencil here and tighten up. And then as you spin round, you're not catching the pencil as you're doing this. So it keeps it nice and the flow going around. So you can almost do two turns turns by getting rid of that pencil there. Make sure it's nice and tight, making sure this doesn't slip, and you've got a good ruler. Now, you can get all sorts of different rulers with different designs. These are the best. A clear, shatterproof 30cm ruler. Don't get anything smaller. I know it fits in your pencil case better, but you're going to be wanting to draw 180 at some point, or you're going to want to draw 200mm. And then you're going to have to be guessing as you go along here. So get yourself a good plastic ruler, shatterproof, shatter resistant. It doesn't mean they don't break, it means it doesn't shatter into little bits and fly across the room if people snap them onto there. I always go for a clear one, because if you're working on something, you can work down, you can see where you're going onto here, so you can actually see underneath on there, so you can see where you are. If you've got a solid one, I've got everything here, but something solid there, if you're working down, you can't see what you've just got. You're going on to next and here. So a clear one is usually better for that. Last couple of things we need: a decent, clean rubber. If there's a little bit of dirt on it, just on there, just cleaning it up so you've got a nice clean edge onto here. So a good clean rubber. If you get it with a case on, don't be tempted to take the case on and write things on the rubber, because that gets on your hand, you get work onto here. Keep the case on. You can move it up and down like that, as you're doing there, so it keeps the rubber as clean as possible all the way down, and then you don't have to buy more and more rubbers on the time, and they're cheap. Last couple of bits of equipment we need is a protractor. Again, get your own protractor. What you don't want to come is one of your school ones, these are worn down in the bits here, or somebody's stuck, been damaged in the edges there, so you're trying to draw around it and you're getting damaged edges on here. So make sure that it's a nice protractor. You can get the full ones if you want to do there, and some people prefer these, especially if you're doing reflex angles. Let's move on to these bits there. They're quite nice, but a good clear protractor. Don't go for a coloured one, don't go for a pink one or anything like that, just a good clear protractor. And once we've got all these basics together, basic equipment, onto there, you can construct virtually everything you need to do in your GCSE paper.